there, 6th grade. This is Mr. Brzezinski's cousin, Simon Brzezinski, and I'm going to take you through another adventure in Pages. So go down to your dock and click on Pages. When Pages starts up, it will open up the template chooser. You want to select the blank template. So you can double click on the blank, as you see right here, or you can click on the blank selected and then hit choose in the lower right. Don't be a bugger. First you need to save. Go up to the file, click on it, and hit save. Dialog box will open, and I need to make sure that I'm going to send it to my server. So the first thing I need to do is hit the drop down arrow on the right hand side. I need to select my server from the left hand side panel, making sure that I'm clicking on my name server, into my documents folder, and I'm going to title this one last name. That's your last name, don't forget. First name, then put in your first name. And we're going to name this project The Flower. Save this project as The Flower. Need to make sure that you're naming each project as you go. Last name, first name, and then The Flower. Save it now to the server documents folder. Look what the final product might look like. I'm going to create a flower with a stem, some leaves on it, and I'm going to decorate it and change the colors of the entire thing. So if you're ready to go, strap on, make sure you saved, and let's do this. Now that I have it all saved up, I'm ready to start drawing. So let's find the shapes in the button bar across the top of the window. I'm going to find the shapes. I'm going to look for a circle. It appears in the center of the document. I'm going to adjust the size of this circle so that it looks like a petal of a flower. To do this, I grab a hold of a handle. The handles are these little boxes around the object. I merely click on the center of the handle and I can increase the height of this petal. As you notice, the H number is going up. As I drag it up, it tells me exactly how high I'm making it, and I would like to make it the height of 2 inches, as you see on the right hand side. H, 2 inches high. I want to make the width now across the width to be 1/2 inch. So I know that 0.5 is 1/2 inch, so I merely drag it in until I see 0.50. Now I have a petal that is 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch by 2 inches high. Brilliant! Now this flower is going to have many petals, so I need to duplicate these petals. So I merely select the petal that I want to duplicate, and I go up to the edit menu and I find duplicate. I can click here, or I can use the Apple D function, and it will create a new petal. I will now line these petals up so that they are top and bottom. As you see, once I drag it across the petals, they automatically want to line up, and it will display a blue line across the petals so that I know that it is exactly square or even with each other. I make sure that they are kissing in the corner right there, and I have them perfectly aligned top and bottom. Perfect! Now again I need to duplicate. I need to make another petal. So I click on one of the petals, I get the handles up around it, and then I go to the edit menu and I select duplicate or Apple D. I now have a new petal on my screen, but I want it to go left to right, not up and down. This petal is going to be a little bit of a bugger to turn sideways. So to do this, I need to go to the inspector. The inspector is in the upper right hand side of your window. Click on the inspector and a little box will open on the right. I'm now going to need to choose the metric inspector. Right now I'm on the document inspector, but if I go across the top, you will notice that there's different inspectors to do different things. This time I want to use the metrics. So I click on the metric inspector, and across the bottom of the inspector you can see it says rotate 0 degrees, which means it's straight up and down. I want to turn this object sideways, so I'm going to use 90 degrees. I merely click inside the angle box, I get the 0 highlighted, and I replace it with the number 90. When I hit return, you will notice that the petal will now shift to its side. I hit return, and as you can see, it now goes directly on its side. I now line the petal up spot on in the center, again kissing the other petals in the center, and now I can duplicate, or Command D. I click on Command D and I create a new petal, which then I can align with the other one, making sure that the blue line shines through both petals, making sure that it is perfectly centered and aligned. It's time to duplicate again. Command D will give me a new petal, and this time I want to put the petal halfway in between the 0 degree and the 90 degree petal. So what is 1/2 of 90 degrees? Let's think about it. 45 is 1/2 of 90 degrees. So I click on the petal that I want to rotate 90 degrees. I have the handles showing around it. Very important, very important. I double click on the 90, and I'm now going to change it to 45. 90 divided by 2 equals 45. I press return, and it now shifts the petal to 45 degrees. I can now align it right in place where I want it, and again duplicate, Command D, put one on the other side. Charming, isn't it? You need to duplicate, Command D, and now I want this petal to go the opposite direction here. So what I need to do is say if this was 90 and this is 45 degrees, I need 90 plus 45 to get this aligned correctly. So 90 plus 45 equals, you tell me, 135. That's correct. So I put in a 135 degree angle, and I can perfectly align it, and as you can see, it wants to line up with not only the 45 degree petal on the left, but also the 45 degree petal on the bottom. I can duplicate this one, drag it into place, and once again it will want to align with the other petals. Perfect. I'm going to try to stick a petal in between the 0 degree petal and the 45 degree petal. To do this, I need to divide 45 by 2. 45 by 2. Let's first duplicate, Command D. I have a new petal. I have it just about where I want it. I'm going to have to create the angle now. 45 divided by 2. That's not an even number. But I do know that it could be 22.5. 22 times 2 is 44.5 times 2 is 1. That gives me 45. So 22.5 will be the correct angle. I take this petal, I move it into place like I have done so many times before, and now I duplicate, putting it directly across. Perfect positioning once again. Make a new petal, and I'm going to take it the next angle. The next angle would have to be 45 plus 22.5. 45 plus 22.5. Well, I know 45 plus 22 is 67. So I go 67.5. 67.5. Hit return, and it is the perfect angle to slide right into place, as you see there. Duplicate, send it to the other side now. What will be the next angle? I wonder. Superb. It's the pattern so far. I made 0 degree, then I made 90 degrees. Half of 90 is 45. Half of 45 is 22.5. 22.5 plus 45 is 67.5, which is halfway between 45 and 90. The next degree should be what? That's right, 22.5 plus 90. 22.5 plus 90 is 112.5. Correct? I think so. Let's try it out. Let's see if she works. First, I need to duplicate a new petal. I need to get it right around where I need it to go. And now I'm going to go to the metrics inspector and type in what I've decided was the next angle. 112.5. I press return, and let's see if it fits in perfectly. Wouldn't you know it, this math seems to be good for something. Math person now to determine the next angle, the correct angle. So we've just put in the 112.5. We know that 90 plus 45 is 135. So now we need to find out what 135 plus 22.5. If you follow the pattern, each time we go up 22.5 degrees. So I need to now go up 22.5 degrees. So I need to find out what goes in between 135 and 180. To do this, 135 plus 22.5. So I say 2 plus 5. That's 100. 3 plus 2, 5. 5 plus 2, 7. Plus adding on the 0.5, 157.5 degrees. That's what happens in between 135 and 180. Now I know this math can be sometimes confusing, but there's nothing like a perfectly designed flower, now is there? No, not at all. So let's duplicate another petal. Let's get it ready to be placed into spot. And I'm going to give it the angle that I determined was the correct angle, which was 157.5. 157.5 is the angle. I press return. Oh my goodness, spot on, it fits. Now all I need to do is duplicate and put one directly across. What a beautiful looking flower I have now. Make a beautiful centerpiece for my flower right here in the center of the petals. So the centerpiece is going to be a circle. I merely go up to the shapes button across the top. I create a circle. I have the circle now, and I'm going to make it 1 inch by 1 inch. As you can see, I drag in the handle until it says 1.00 inch width and 1.00 height. Perfect. I'm going to now align it right in the center of all of my petals. You can see the blue line tells me I'm exactly into the center. Perfect. What I'd like to do is create a stem for which this flower will reside on top of. So to do the stem, I again go up to shapes, but this time I need to go all the way to the bottom where it allows me to select this pen tool. I click on this tool right here, and it gives me directions on how to draw right here. To draw a shape, click to create the first point, click another location to create the next point. To stop drawing, click the first point of the shape or press escape. The escape key is in the upper left-hand side of your keyboard. Now that we know how to use this tool, let's begin. To the center of my flower, I click once to create a starting point. I am now going to click another point slightly below the petals, and that will be my bendy point. You will see what I'm talking about in just 1 second, but I will twist and turn this line in 1 second. This will be fun. A couple inches down from that bendy point, I will create the end point. Once I've created the 3 points, 1, 2, and 3, I now press the escape key in the upper left-hand side of my keyboard. I can also get out of this function by double-clicking at the stop point. I'm now going to twist and turn my stem. So to do this, I need to first select the stem. I need to click on the stem. I have my handles up around the stem. I click the stem again and it shows me where my bendy point is here in the center. To begin bending, I just double click my bendy point and you will see that it has these angle bars hanging out on the side. I can now grab a hold of the angle bar and start twisting and turning. As you can see, I have the edge of the handlebars right here. I can extend, make it longer. I can make it narrower. So I can twist and turn my stem any which way I choose. You can select your own method. Go ahead and twist and turn your stem now. Once I have it just the way I like it, I merely click outside of the stem area, and as you can see now, I have a perfectly sculpted stem. Let's now make some leaves for this stem down below. To do this, I need to go up to my shapes again and select the pen tool once again. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to click at a starting point. I will click once, twice, thrice, 4, and back to the beginning to create my shape. I want to make the stem, or I want to make the leaf a diamond shaped at first, and then I will sculpt it into a beautiful leaf later. Let's create another leaf on the other side. Once again, shapes, the pen, and make another diamond shape by clicking around and then back to the beginning. Once I click on the beginning, like it says right here, click on the first point of the shape to send it back to the beginning. Let's bend, twist, and turn the shape now. Once again, I select the leaf. I then click on it one more time, and I have the red dots around. Double clicking on the red dots, and it allows me to bend and sculpt this leaf. I can then twist, turn. This is where you get very creative. And again, the bottom one, I can twist and turn this one as well. Now it really looks like a beautiful leaf. Click out of it. Look at the shape of that. Superb. Let's do the same with this leaf over here. I click on the leaf. I click again to get the bubbles. Double click on the bubbles, and it allows me to sculpt the leaf. Double click on the bottom bubble. And it makes beautiful looking leaves. Brilliant! As you can see here, the leaf is in front of the flower. I do not want it interrupting the vision of my vivid, beautiful flower, so I want to put it into the back. To do that, I click on the stem. I arrange and send to back, much in the same way I would do if I were to create an egg in a box. Send all the way to the back. As you can see now, the stem has rotated to the reverse side of the flower, and it's hiding behind the petals, exactly where I want it. Now I can change the color of this stem. I select just the stem. I click directly on the stem itself, and I'm going to go to the graphic inspector. I click on the graphic inspector, and it tells me that the line is black. I can change the line of the stem to be a color of green. I click on the black. I get the colors pan open. I select a crayon box, and I'm going to select a nice rich green. As you can see, the stem has now changed to green. I can do this for all of the leaves as well. I have the leaf. I'm in the graphic inspector. I click on black to change the color. And I select green once again. The other petal, graphic inspector, click on black and change it to green. I can now also fill the inside of this leaf with green by, again, I'm in the graphic inspector and I have fill with color. I click on color, I select the white, which is currently filled with, and I switch it to green. I go to the next leaf, I click on it, it says the fill is none, I want to select a color, and once again it changes to green. I would also like to change all these beautiful little petals all at the same time to the same color. Please do this with me as I do it. Click on one of the petals. Then I hold down the shift key on the keyboard, I find the shift key on the keyboard, I hold it down. Once I have the shift key held down, I can now select the other petals by clicking on them. I move the mouse, I click, and it will select all the petals all at once. So I go around the flower, selecting, clicking just one time on each petal. One time, holding down the shift the entire time as I click on every petal in the flower. Now I have every petal selected. I'm going to go to my graphic inspector, as you can see here, and it says it's already filled with the green color. Let's change that now. I can do a color fill and select a new color, or I can do a gradient fill, which I like much, much better. And I can select a different color here. Let's select a beautiful purple. You can select anything you like. And then for the bottom of the gradient, maybe an orange. Beautiful. Remember, this is your flower. You can choose whatever color you want to make the petals. You can choose what other gradient you want, or your advanced gradient fill, or the color fill. You could decide what flower you like best. Now that I have the petals colored, what I want to do is click on the centerpiece. I have to click outside of the flower first, clicking anywhere outside of any one of the petals, and then going right back to the centerpiece where it says the color fill is green. I do not want the color fill to be green anymore. Ooh, I like this right here. I can now shift the colors, changing it up in very advanced ways here. And you can see how this changes the image that you're creating. So you can change the color of the centerpiece now. So this is a very small version of your final product. Do you like it? Yes, you do. If you do, you should save. Once you are done coloring in the flower, you are finished with your project. Let's go up and hit save, file, save, or Command S will save this document. Finished and you're saved. Now it's time to drop into the Dropbox. Let's quit out of Pages. I go to Pages, Quit Pages, or Command Q. I now need to find my document. So I need to go to my server where my document is hiding. I need to open up my server and also the NI server where Mr. Brzezinski's files are. Let's go into Mr. Brzezinski's folder first. I double click on the B. Brzezinski folder, double click, and I'm going to go into the 6th grade, and I'm going to determine which class period is mine. Once I've determined what class period is mine, I will now go into my Documents folder, opening my Documents folder, finding the project that is labeled last name, first name, then the flower, whatever your last name and first name is. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to drag it to the appropriate Dropbox. If I'm in period 6, I put it in period 6 Dropbox. If I'm in period 7, I obviously drop it into period 7. I want to make sure that it goes over top of the Dropbox and the arrow turns into a plus. As you can see, it wants to drop it in to the period 6 or 7 Dropbox. In this case, I will just drop it into the period 6 Dropbox. I will go up, wait until I see that plus, and then let go. I will be asked, are you sure you want to drop it in? I say okay, and sure enough, it makes a chiming sound and I've dropped it in properly. Now check the overhead projector to make sure that it is in fact dropped into the Dropbox. That is all for today. Cheers, mate, and goodbye.